you make of Mikhail Sergachev and what you've learned about him as a young defenseman since you started playing with him? And he hasn't had a whole lot of offense in this playoffs, but he's doing a lot of the little things. He got involved very physically last night. What have you seen in him and kind of the growth of Mikhail as a defenseman?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I think he likes to be offensive and use his skill. He's pretty special in that aspect, and but the thing I love about him is his willingness to get better in all areas and taking a lot of pride in being tough to play against, like you talked about, being physical, blocking shots, just taking a lot of pride in keeping the puck out of his own net too. And he knows he can be offensive and help distribute the puck, and he's got a great shot as well. But I think he wants to work at being a 200-foot all-around defenseman, and he's definitely coming into his own there in that aspect.
Joe Smith, The Athletic.
Sorry. Hey, Ryan, how would you compare the mentality of the group this year's final versus last year's final, like having the experience of actually winning it? I don't know if it gives you guys perspective on not looking too far ahead, or just maybe there's a more kind of measured, mature approach when you're in these final. Like, how would you describe kind of the feel around the group, in this year, being 3 wins away versus kind of last year?
Yeah, I mean, we know obviously we're in the finals now. It's the 4th round, but I think just our mentality going into any series, whether it's the first or the finals, we do a really good job of staying in the present and staying in the moment and really taking it one game at a time and, trying to get to the strength of our game as much as possible and wear teams down over the course of a long series. And we always think big picture that it might end up taking 7 games. So if we stick with our details and continue to play with the pace and the structure and the pressure that we can do, we think it pays off in the long run. So that's kind of our philosophy and our mindset here is really just trying to be consistent here every shift and continue to try and wear down teams.
John Romano, Tampa Bay Times.
Hey, Ryan, when you joined this team in 2018, it had the reputation as sort of this high-flying offense. Could you talk about the growth of the defense in your time here and just how far it's come since you arrived?
I mean, there's a lot of things I could probably cover. I think most importantly, our play with the puck, our decision-making with the puck, our understanding of when there's a play to be made and when there's not, and when to be higher percentage. I think that's been the biggest key for our success over the last handful of years, and for sure last year, and hopefully again this year. It's just not feeding teams and not turning pucks over. That's when you obviously find yourself out of structure, out of sorts, maybe on the wrong side of things, guys going off for changes. When you turn the puck over and don't manage the game the right way when the puck's on your stick, that's when things can get out of sorts. And so I think that's something we stress all the time is, we've got some skill and we like to make plays. If the play is there to be made, try and make it. But if it's not, try not to force things here. So we got to continue to be good in our reads there.
Greg Wyshynski, ESPN.
Thanks a lot. Hey, Ryan. You were an Olympian in 2014. The NHL agreed to go back to the Olympics in last year's collective bargaining agreement, but Gary Bettman sounded kind of pessimistic yesterday that participating in the Beijing Games might not happen. And I was wondering what your reaction was to that as somebody who, might have a roster spot on that team.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a shame for sure if players weren't allowed the opportunity to go play. I know as a young player myself, you have a dream of representing your country, so I would hate for that opportunity to be taken away from, not only potentially myself, but any young player coming up or trying to represent their country for the first time at the Olympic level. The Olympic Games are such a unique experience, and I think they do wonders for the sport of hockey. So I'm really hoping there's a way for things to work out to allow the players to be able to represent their country at the Olympic Games.
Sarah Oleski, TSN.
Hi, Ryan. Nikita Kucherov's career to this point speaks for itself, but just with everything that he's had to deal with this season, what stands out to you most about what he's been able to accomplish in this postseason?
I think he just wants to be a threat every time he's on the ice. And like most players, right, you want to be consistent and you want to step up and be a difference maker for your team. And I think that's what, really drives him is he's never satisfied with, just making one play happen or putting one puck in the net. He knows he's put in those situations to produce, and he can make a lot of guys around him better just from his playmaking ability and his finishing ability. So he takes a lot of pride in being that type of player for us, where he can make everybody around him better and obviously help our team win. And it's been great to see him, continually wanting to push himself, even though he's at such a high level now. He never stops, working hard in practice, talking to players, talking to defensemen about things that he sees. He just, anytime he speaks up in the room for our group, carries a ton of weight, and it's been great to see him continue to be a difference maker night in, night out.
Mary Fiallo, Tampa Bay Times.
Hey, Ryan. Obviously, last night, Cernak scored his first career postseason goal, and it's kind of hard to believe that it took almost 50 games and he won a Stanley Cup before that happened. But I was wondering, I know you can't speak for him, but can you kind of put into words just what a first career postseason goal feels like for a player? Is it on that same level as just a first career goal in general, or how does that kind of equate, just looking back on memories of your own as a player?
No, yeah, you definitely remember it. Great moment for him, obviously, having his first playoff goal being a Stanley Cup final. That's a big moment. And obviously first goal of the game one, trying to set the tone for our group. And I think Cherney has been taking a huge step this year, even more so than years past, and just understanding that he has an ability to make those kind of plays happen. Such a great skater, has a great vision out there and a big shot as well. So I think the best thing about him is he doesn't, force plays or force things happen offensively. He lets the game come to him there, and for him to step up in game one of the finals and find a way to get a goal, that's a great moment for him, and I'm sure there'll be many more to come.
Eric Erlinson, Lightning Insider.
Good morning, Ryan. I'm just wondering how much of the D being as active as you were, especially last night, is part of an active game plan or just organic as the game develops?
Yeah, I mean, like I said many times, that's a part of our system. That's what we're, told to do as far as our responsibility on the ice is being a part of the breakout, coming out of our zone, being an option in the offensive zone for our forwards when they get their cycle game going. The onus is on us to get pucks, past their shot blockers down to the net, and not turn pucks over there and feed any kind of transition game for them. So if it looks like we had a little bit more active D, it's because of, everybody being in sync and paying the price, and taking hits to make plays on our breakouts, and guys, continuing to force themselves to get up in the play. And those moments get harder and harder as the series get on. So you've got to really continually push yourself and push your partner and the D group as a whole to keep getting up and keep setting the pressure on them.
We'll do a couple more for Ryan. J.F. Chamat, Journal de Montreal.
Good morning, Ryan. I want to go back to Nikita Kucherov. Last night with 3 points, he reached the 30-point marks for the second time in his career. Only 4 other players in the NHL were able to do 30 points twice in the playoff: Gretzky, Lemieux, Yari Corey, and Mark Messier. So what's the feeling in the room when you can see that one of your teammates is adding his name to a pretty good list of players?
Yeah, I think our group recognizes it, no doubt. I mean, you never want to, boast a guy. Obviously, our team and hockey players in general are pretty humble, and Kucherov's no question a very humble guy. But we're not dumb in the sense that we're realizing and we're seeing a pretty special performance by Kucherov in these playoffs. And like I've said before, talking about him, the greatest thing about it is he just wants to help the team, and he wants more, and he keeps pushing himself to produce and keep giving more to the team. And the job's not done in his mind, and he knows he's going to be counted on again here. And hopefully he keeps adding to that and keeps joining the list of the great players in this league and setting records, because it means all that much more success for our group, and he's a big part of it.
Simon Olivier Lepresse.
Hi, Ryan. It's a weird situation where you're facing a team that is usually a direct opponent in your division for the first time in 1 year and a half. The last time you played them, they were basically going nowhere. Now they're in Stanley Cup Finals. Beside the change of figures and the Canadians, what is the thing that changed the most about this thing, in your opinion?
You say it changed about Montreal? Sorry.
About Montreal, so playing against them was the biggest difference.
They've always had a lot of speed up front. That's what I remember, and there's no doubt they have speed up front. I think they've gotten a little bit bigger on the back end. Those D-men are big physical guys, and that's a challenge for our forwards to continue to make the plays that they want to make. And for me, it's a team that can create something out of nothing a lot of times. And they're playing pretty responsible in their own zone, and it's tough for us to generate looks when we've got that offensive zone pressure because of their big D and the way they box out and the way they stay on the inside. So I think they do a great job of counterattacking with that speed, and like I've talked about, we need to really manage the puck well when we've got it on our stick.
Last question, Steve Summons, Serrano Sar.
Ryan, you've played for some very well-known and high-profile coaches in the past. I'm wondering, now that you've been with John Cooper for as long as you have, what makes him so great at his job?
I mean, I think he does a great job of allowing the players, to kind of handle certain moments through the ups and downs of a season. You're obviously going to hear a ton from your coach in meetings and video and different things that come up, but he's got a great feeling of when to let the players kind of handle certain things, and that just creates a great culture in your locker room and a great sense of accountability, and something that doesn't happen overnight or even over the course of a year or 2 years. He's obviously been here a handful of years, and guys have played for him for longer years than I have, and I think he does it, like I said, a great job of just letting the room take over at the right time and trusting his players to come through. Certainly he's one of the best guys at getting us, adjustments within a series or adjusting to things in the season. And another thing is probably handling adversity in different fashions, whether it's a guy getting hurt or slumping our play and travel, all sorts of things. Just has a great sense of where the room's at all times and when to step back and let the players handle it, or when he needs to step up and let his voice be heard.
Thank you, Ryan.